YouTube vinyl community, Beatles fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about the Beatles' 1982 compilation, Real Music. Oh. The Beatles at this point had not been a band for 12 years, and Capitol in the late 70s, in their infinite wisdom, decided to keep putting out compilations of their old tracks to resell them over and over again, which I have to admit, I think some of them are pretty cool. The Love Songs compilation, this one, what was the other, Rock and Roll Music, I think they all have their fun attributes. Obviously the execution was not the best with most of them. This one in particular, though, was kind of the last hurrah of Beatles compilations during that time. They had mostly been putting out double album sets throughout the 70s, the Red and Blue album, Love Songs, Rock and Roll Music, whatever else. And then this one, they realized with Love Songs it didn't sell the way they thought it was going to sell. And so I think for this one, they kind of tucked in their ideas a little bit and said, you know what, single album, just one, let's see what happens. It sold pretty well. It sold, I think it went gold, so I don't have the exact numbers out of it, it went gold. Anyway, let's continue to jump into this, shall we? First off, the cover. So many people hate the artwork on this thing. I think it's fun. I really think it's cool. You got different eras of the Beatles, like, hanging out with each other. There's some Yellow Submarine Beatles, and there's some early Get Back Beatles, and then there's Help, and there's Hard Day's Night, and Ringo, I think, is... I don't know what the heck Ringo's doing. I think eating his hand. What's old Richard doing there? I like the cover. I like the concept of this album. I think it could have been a double album and had been successful at it. I think this is the first one they could have done as a double album set that could have been fantastic. And I'm going to put my four-sided album track on the bottom for you so you guys can see in the description box there of what I think it could have been. They could have been, you know, an album or a movie per side. I think would have worked really well, splitting up Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine onto one side. Anyways, yeah, so we start off, we got 4 songs from A Hard Day's Night, you got 3 from Help, 2 from Magical Mystery Tour, 2 from Yellow Submarine, 3 from Let It Be. Now, this particular copy was actually sealed, but when I bought it, the owner of the record shop had opened it right before me, and some lowly person along the way decided to stamp a hole into this and put it in the cutout bin because the Beatles, cutout bin, they'll never make it. I want to show you the inside of this thing, though, because I think the packaging on this one is probably the best one that there was. It came with this giant souvenir book, which is cool, because it's got, like, an assortment of Beatles movie covers, and you got some great shots on the inside. There's Magical Mystery Tour, there's A Hard Day's Night, and you got Let It Be, and Yellow Submarine. I mean, it's just cool. You got little, you know, stories about the movies. I think that was well done. Bit of a weird picture on this one, though. I think this is kind of a strange one. You just got, like, Hard Day's Night Ringo hanging out with Let It Be John, and there's Magical Mystery Tour Paul. I guess that's also Magical Mystery Tour George. Whatever. The sleeve itself, the inner sleeve, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. Like, hey, here's all the albums you can buy to complete your collection. I think that's super cool. And the back has just some random pictures of them, a couple stills from the movies that they're in, but for the most part, just random shots of them throughout the years. The label of this album is equally as cool with the actual reel, like a film reel. I enjoy that. And some facts about this album in particular. The version of A Hard Day's Night on here is a little bit different. They altered the intro, whereas on the original one, there's like a little bit of a break during the harmonica part, near the end of the harmonica in the intro. On this, they completely got rid of that and kept it as one take, so it sounds like a robot or something. It's very artificial sounding, and apparently it's the only time that was ever done was on this particular mix. Rumor has it this is a British mix of I Am the Walrus. I was trying to find the differences between the two. A little bit rough there on me. And I think this was the first true stereo for Hard Day's Night and Ticket to Ride. So it was the first time they were in true stereo on an album. So in that respect, it's kind of cool. This album did peak at number 19 on the charts, and there are original copies of this thing that were I think they were promotional copies, but they were numbered, and they were on gold vinyl. There's rumors that this exists as a normal album, not on gold vinyl, but I've yet to see it. And these are pretty common to find, and it's common to find them sealed because there's just so many of the damn things. Um, yeah, there was a single that came out for this too, the Beatles movie medley, which had a mix of some of their songs together, and on the B side was "Happy Just to Dance with You," which was in A Hard Day's Night, but not on this album. So, actually, the original version of that 45, the reason why "Happy Just to Dance with You" is on there is because Capitol Records wanted to put something called Film Fun with the Fab Four or something, Fab Four on film. It was like, supposed to be interviews with them during A Hard Day's Night as the B-side, but they couldn't get the rights to that dialogue, and so they put "Happy Just to Dance with You" on the back. So that's kind of cool. This was released in 1982 to coincide with the film re-release of A Hard Day's Night, which had been kind of spiffed up and cleaned and restored and smacked with Dolby, so it sounded great. And I think they were trying to capitalize on that coming back out again, and I think that's why it's so heavy on songs from that movie. But hey, they're good songs, so, you know, who's going to say no to that? This was the last album ever released on 8-track by the Beatles. 1982, that's pretty late for an 8-track. Fun fact, if memory serves me correctly, I believe Bruce Springsteen's live album from '85 was the last 8-track. Someone correct me on that. This album was actually available on cassette up until 1992, which blows my mind. Like, I don't remember seeing this at all as a cassette when I was a kid, but that is pretty cool. According to Perry Cox in his Beatles Price Guide of American Records, the lower the number on the promotional copies you can find, the higher value that they're worth. They're worth more with that. So overall, I mean, I think this is a cool album. I like the style of it. As a single disc, it's extremely concise. And for that, it is worth it. This is the first time, though, they could have done a really good 2-album set to really, like, scope up their movies. With love songs and rock and roll music, they were pushing it with some of their choices, and I think that could have been a way better single disc set. Like, and really, really put, like, the absolute best of the best instead of just scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, like, She's Leaving Home is on that. Like, come on, man. Kind of a bizarre choice for a love song. Yeah, I guess. So, I don't know. I think this is a cool album. It's sort of an oddity in their collection because after this, there really wasn't a whole lot of collections like this that said Beatles on it for a long time. I guess probably not until maybe even Beatles 1. Maybe. Yeah, I think that may have been it. But this was the first album that came out after John had passed away. So this was the first Beatles release that he didn't see. So that's kind of sad. But overall, I think the execution on this one was done really well. I like the packaging. I think every detail about this thing was detailed. Nothing was left to be like, oh, that could have been better. The only thing I'd have to say is it could have been longer. It really could have been. And I'm going to put my list in the D box for you there. The dialogue box, is that what they call it? Description box? To show what it could have been like. So, yeah, kind of an oddity in their collection. I absolutely had to rate it. I don't know if I could because, like, it's all Beatles songs and they're all great. So, I mean, it's worth giving it a review. But let's do it anyway. I'm going to give it a 9. There, I did it. I gave it a 9. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is just a quick little video to talk about something cool, a little bit of history on this thing. So, there you go. Beatles, Real Music, 1982, Capitol Records. It went gold, you see. And, yeah. What do you guys think of this album? Do you have it? And, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people think this is a very stupid, superfluous release, and I can see that for sure, but I think it's kind of cool. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been Album Reviews with the Beatles. Real Music. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.